Good afternoon all, welcome to Thirsty Thursday, and my name is Claire Manning from Thirsty Brush. So if you enjoy crafty videos, whether it's card making, home decor, stamping, die cutting, all those lovely crafty things, then do subscribe to this How to Craft Network channel and you will get loads of videos from a few of us here. Me from Thirsty Brush, Tony from Stamps by Me, Simon from Avogo Ink, and Carly from iMarla. So today I'm going to do an abstract style watercolour. Either you can use as a background for your cards, or I fancied, I've got this frame that I've had on my wall for a while with one of our Thirsty Brush papers in, and I fancied doing a watercolour kind of abstract scene that I'm going to pop in that aperture there. But of course you could use this as a background for a card if you wanted to as well. And it's really simple, and it's going to combine two colours of watercolour and some bits of scraps of foil. This is just foil that you can use either with cold glue, so I'm going to use a glue stick, or you can use with the hot foiling as well. So I'm going to create a kind of wash look that fades out, and I want it to be about 2/3 one colour and 1/3 a second colour. So I've got a pencil, and then very, very roughly, because you won't be able to see a lot of this, about 1/3 of the way down the page, hasn't got to be exact, I'm just doing myself a line of where each colour is going to start. Then I've got some water, a watercolour brush, and my palette. So I just need to choose my two colours. My living room where I'm going to hang this is reasonably neutral. There's a lot of wood, there's a lot of white, so I'm going to keep it fairly neutral, but I think I might put some blues in there as well, and then with the metallic accent of the gold, I think it might look quite nice in that frame, but also would make a lovely background for a card, like I say. So I'm just going to clear one of these. I normally reuse every tiny bit of watercolour, but just because I want to make sure I've got the right colour mixed here, I'm going to clear out this section of the palette. It's had some yellows and oranges in there. So I hope you're all well. Things are starting to slowly ease, aren't they? We've got a plan of things easing from lockdown. So in April we've got non-essential shops reopening and things like that. And my Thirsty Brush shop in Birmingham will be reopening around the, oh, I've got a dark hair in my water, of course, around the 12th it allows us to reopen, which is a Monday. So I haven't decided yet whether it'll actually be on that Monday or not. But it will certainly be in and around that. I've been working on that really hard. So that will be something to look forward to. And I know lots of people are waiting for things like hairdressers, aren't they, and all that kind of thing. So I'm just going to take a couple of blues, almost kind of like sea blues, I think. So I want a fair amount on my brush, and along this line, this is watercolour card, so you need a fair amount of water on your brush because it does suck it up. And then I'm using bits of water, and I want to make it bleed out to almost nothing in certain areas without any harsh lines there, so I can go in and blend but I want it to look fairly natural. Slightly more on the left than the right, and then I'm going to add tiny bits of the darker colour in again, but make sure I'm blending those out. Takes a bit of practice to get used to getting watercolour to look natural when you're actually purposely placing it in some areas. So don't stress too much if it doesn't work first time round. And I'm leaving some gaps, some areas of the paper completely untouched. Any areas that are still wet, if you want to add in more colour, you can. But once it starts to take away that shine, then leave it alone then. But any of these areas where it's kind of poured a bit of water, you can do those. If you've got some areas where you want to take colour away, use a bit of kitchen roll, or sometimes I use like a dry wipe, and you can take out any extra bits. So that's the blue side. So I'm going to turn it over. So it's quite a quick project, this one actually. So I've got some green here, but I want to make it more earthy, so I'm going to add some of my browns, make kind of like a neutral colour that will go with the woods in my room. Maybe add a bit of peach as well. That's the right kind of tone I'm after. So I'm basically doing a similar thing here. I'm going to go in with some of the brown, and then I'm going to clean my brush off a little bit and use my wet brush to blend the colour out down the paper. Got a little splash there. And you can see I've made the meat on this line that I penciled in earlier on, but some of that will get covered up in a little while with the foil that I'm going to add. Okay, so that's my two colours. Really, really simple. You could add some splats or something if you wanted to. In fact, let's go in with a bit of that, why not? Just a few, just to give it a little bit of extra texture. It's going to have a kind of seasidey feel, I suppose, which I always like. So I'm just going to let that dry before I add on the foil where I want it, because it's just too wet to take the foil at the moment. So you can use a heat tool or just allow it to dry off by itself. Okay, so I'll give that a good dry off. It's not sitting totally flat because actually I've used what's called a cotton rag paper today. So I use a lot of Tony Stamps by Me Carter watercolour card when I'm making a card or doing a, say, piece of home decor or something where it needs to sit really flat. but actually I wanted this to look like it had got tons of texture, and because it's sitting behind some glass in a frame, it doesn't matter if it buckles a bit once it's in that frame. But it's really, really malleable. It can take tons and tons of water, this cotton rag, obviously a high cotton content. But just if you were noticing that it is a bit buckled, so what? So you can do any 2 colours you want with this. And what I want to create now is a kind of loose, rustic foiled effect that kind of comes from this side. Almost might look a little bit like, you know, when you see a heartbeat on a monitor, and it kind of goes up and down a little bit. So there's going to be a really long piece here, and then it's going to kind of fade out down this line here. So you're going to lose this harsh line, and all you're going to see is above the foil this lovely neutral colour, and below the foil the green. So I hope this works out. I'm going to use just a glue stick that I'd got lying around to apply the foil. You can use wet glues too. Just give them a few seconds though before you put your foil on. You can use tapes if you want something like more defined stripes. If you've watched any of my videos before, you've probably seen me do some foiling techniques before, but this is my absolute favourite. So I'm going to kind of build it up. I'm not going to do all of the foil in one go, but I'm going to try and make it quite natural looking. This is just a scrap. It's a bit kind of folded, which is why I didn't want to use it for a project that was too perfect, because it had just kind of in a box that it was sat in. It had got a bit crumpled, but I thought, well, I can still use it for something where the foil, I purposely don't want the foil to be perfect. Like when I use lines like that of tape, then I want it to be really nice with no marks in it whatsoever. Okay, so that's a little bit. I think this paper might still, it feels dry to me. It might just be that it's textured. It hasn't come off as neat as it normally does on flat card, but actually I quite like that. So let's add a bit more. Glue, and I might leave it on a bit longer as well this time. Just give it a press with your hands, or burnishing as it's officially called, but generally I'm just going around in circles. Yeah, I can feel the texture of this paper underneath. That's probably why it's coming off all this rustic amount, but hopefully that will give us a really cool finish, something a bit different. I'm just going to give it a second or two just for that glue to dry off a little bit more. Okay, so this is starting to look really good. What I want is it to be a little bit more concentrated along that line. So I'm starting to lose it. Not my marble, start to lose the line, I mean. So let's go in again on that area. And yeah, it's just taking some building up because of that texture. But this is the kind of thing that you can do at home, and you're not going to be able to buy something like this in a home decor shop or anything. It's going to be totally unique to you, and you can mix and match it with your own decor colours, can't you? It's really easy, even a child could do this. Might be something fun that you want to do with kids or grandparents, grandchildren, sorry, in the Easter holidays we've got coming up, haven't we? I've added just a couple of little odd dots of the glue as well, just so it's not all completely concentrated on that middle area. So really starting to lose that line. I just want a tiny bit more, I think. Fabulous. I'm really happy with that. So let's have a look at popping it in the frame and seeing how it looks as a piece of art. And there's a tiny couple of little marks on this. I think they're just scratches on this frame. I don't know how I'm gonna, if anyone's got any ideas about what I could do with those. I've tried with a rubber, nothing comes off. Maybe I need to just paint that bit, but we'll see. So let's take out what's in there. So that's part of it. Okay. And make sure I put it the right way up that I want. And I'm just gonna, just so it doesn't slide down because it doesn't fit the entire frame, I'm just going to pop a bit of tape just to keep that in place. I don't know why I always keep these and put them on the back, but I feel like, I don't know, it just makes it a bit more smooth and complete. So just seal it back up. But yeah, this would look perfect with, say, on a card, if you just put a sentiment along that line. But I feel like that looks really nice and will go really lovely in my living room here. So I'll take a photo of it as well on the wall and tell me what you think. And if you have a go at something like this, I think when the light catches that gold, it's really, really beautiful. And you could really personalise it to yourself, couldn't you? Or even put like a nice slogan with some die cut or stamped words on if you wanted to make it a little bit more fun. So a bit different. Yes, you could use it for a card, but I've done it as home decor. And I will be back. I'm definitely doing a card for the next one, because I know I've been doing some scan and cut stuff and some home decor. But yes, Sunday's video will be a card, so I'll be back at 1 PM on Sunday for the Sunday chill. So do join me then. In the meantime, take care and stay safe.